All right, let's turn our attention to the world of decacorns, nearly centacorns that will come up 5 billion short. Stripe raising new money, $600 million at a valuation of $95 billion. Of course, Stripe. For I'm assuming many of our viewers at this point have heard of Stripe, though I think the easy way to describe them is the biggest company you've never heard of. They pretty much power every back-end transaction, many back-end transactions that you are having or conducting online. Their goal is to increase the GDP of the internet. Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley joins us now with more on the company, and I guess Howley, where they go from here. It's clearly not difficult to come to public markets these days. Clearly not difficult to raise additional monies for a venture the size of Stripe to raise a paltry $600 million at a sky-high valuation. It's just an interesting financial move, and makes one wonder if they will remain private for far longer than many expect.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's some chat that this wasn't the valuation that people were expecting. Some said as high as 115 billion, some said 100 billion. So the 95 billion, just shy of that. And I think that's something that people are going to be looking at. But as you said, Stripe really, the company that does process these kinds of transactions, or provides the means for companies to process these transactions. It's a little bit of code that they add to their website, and then they're off to the races. And the growth here during the pandemic has been astronomical for them, but the company doesn't offer revenue numbers or user numbers. They hold those very close to the chest, which obviously doesn't give you as much of a view into the company itself. Perhaps if they do go public, the S1 would really give us an idea there if they went public in the U.S. markets. And you have to look at the competition that they're also dealing with. Square, which is backed by Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, they also provide similar services. And there are other companies around doing this as well. They recently, though, got into lending. It's kind of the low-key lending. You can get loans, quick loans for as low as $500 in some instances. So they're doing a lot more than just the payment processing. And I think this is one of the companies, if it does go public, that people are going to go crazy for, simply by virtue of the fact that it allows them to add any kind of e-commerce to their site. And as you said, their stated goal of increasing the GDP of the internet, that would really help it go a long way.
Dan, don't they have to go public from the simple standpoint? It's not like this business could be acquired. And I mention that because Visa couldn't buy Plaid. I can't imagine a global payments. They're a company that's dominated the plumbing of really these types of transactions. Can't imagine they would be allowed to buy a Stripe.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see where the final valuation comes and what will happen if they do go public and how they will do it. I think, for this company in particular, as you said, this is the plumbing for these kinds of payments and transactions. If you go on most websites, you're probably going to be interacting with Stripe at some point. So I think this is going to be, one of the types of companies that people really fawn over as it goes public. And it will be a bellwether for how these other companies are able to do. Obviously, Square, again, being their biggest competitor in the space, those two going back and forth will be very fun to watch. There's been talk of perhaps them going into insurance at some point because of the most recent round, having some of the venture arms for insurance companies. So whether or not they do that, though, remains to be seen. But hopefully we'll hear more about potential plans for going public soon.